I remember one day I was standing up singing. This was some years ago, and I don't even remember what I had done. I was struggling with something, and you know, when you go into the place of prayer and you're just you're like negotiating with God. I will never do that again. If, you know, just help me do this. I promise. I wasn't even letting him get a word in edgewise at all, because I was just totally rambling. I'm sorry. Never again. Sorry. Forgive me. I am a worm. I can't do anything right. I mean, I was just rolling around in it, you know, up on a singer mic, trying to sing glory to God, you know. And I was just under it, under condemnation, the enemy just breathing lies, accusing me and accusing God. And I remember I was going, have pity on me, have mercy. And he goes, I want you. And it thundered through my spirit. He goes, I want you. He goes, I don't pity you, I want you. And I stopped. He goes, I want you. I like you. I love you. I want you. I knew what I was getting into, and I still want you. You know that you are not just an object to display his great nobility, so everybody can go, oh man, God is noble. Look at that mess he chose to get out of hell. Now that is a good God. Now some of that is true. We are to display his mercy and compassion, but there's more than mercy and compassion. We never outgrow mercy and compassion or pity at all. But there's more. He wants you. He wants you. You're not a project. You're not just a project that makes him look good. He wants you. This whole thing is about you. He greatly desires your beauty. Because he greatly desires your beauty. This is the power to walk out the first part of the verse of wholehearted abandonment. We see his great desire for us, and the more that we meditate on his desire for us, it starts to become in us an inferno, a fire, and we begin to desire him in return. Do you know that we love him because he first loved us? You will never love him until you let him love you, ever. You will never love him until the measure that you love him is the measure that you let him love you first. You have to learn to hear the voice of the bridegroom. Hear the voice of the bridegroom. This is how he feels over you. And he goes, because he is your Lord, worship him. The Father commissions the earth to worship. Worship. That doesn't just mean singing. Live lives of adoration. Adore this man. Be extravagant. Go all the way. Worship, because he is your Lord. This man with this beautiful heart, this man who's full of desire, this man who had all the wealth and looks at you and says, your love is better than wine. This man is your God. Worship him. Worship is a response to a truth. Worship is a reaction. Worship isn't just something that you set your heart to do. Worship is a reaction to a truth. The reason why we have a hard time living lives of worship is because we don't meditate on truth. Our minds are not there. We don't have a reaction. Worship is a reaction. You know, like at a football game, this is a very low-level example, but when people will cheer, it's a reaction to what's going on. They're worshiping. It's a reaction. They saw something. Something happened. Worship is a reaction to something we see in God. We need to meditate on these things. We need to throw ourselves into the heart of the bridegroom so that we can live lives of worship in response to the Father when he says, worship him, worship him. And then he goes on, and I'm about to close here. He goes on and he talks about the millennial kingdom. I just want to touch that in verse 12 and 15. He's talking about, you know, in the Gospels, he said, no one has ever left houses and homes and money and land and father and mother that he will not receive more in the age to come. Do you know that there is a great exchange going on? A great exchange. And we get a little glimpse into the millennial kingdom in these verses. This is the same city that John saw. It's the same city that the psalmist wrote of. He's looking at that beautiful city called the bride. And then, one last thing, I just want to touch on this. He looks back at the son, and he goes, Jesus, he's just saying, I'm going to make you the chief among them all. He goes, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and all your fathers are going to be your sons, because he's the root and the offspring of David. He was before Abraham. He's fully God. But I want to hit on this this call to abandonment. Abandonment, it means different things to different people. But you know those one or two issues that the Lord is beckoning in your heart, that you are wrestling with. I tell you, you will let go much easier if you begin to hear the voice of the bridegroom. You will begin to look at the things that you are hanging on to with disgust. You're like, oh, am I really giving up the pleasures of God for that? Am I really giving up a lively heart and that oil of gladness for that? Let's stand together, and we can have the worship team come up. Just all across the room, just close your eyes. We'll try to keep the conversations down. Father, here we are, your daughters, your sons, here we are. Lord, we hear your voice in this end-time generation, Lord. As you are about to sing this very song, we want to join in the song of your heart. Lord, I ask that you would raise up messengers, you would raise up men and women who hear the song of the Father and who hear the voice of the bridegroom. We thank you that you desire us, that you are ravished over us. We want to be wholehearted and abandoned.